In a futuristic world, the city of Olympia had Hayden Technologies, a company led by Dr. Josephine Hayden, whose team created a device capable of instantly reconfiguring human DNA, known as the transcoder. By altering genetic codes, scientists were able to heal wounds and cure disease in seconds. But the miracle cure had devastating effects later, and Dr. Josephine was the first to experience the downside. Her DNA mutated and transformed her into a monster with snakes all over her body. Another scientist tried to use the transcoder, but he ended up turning into a monster because its calibration to the user's unique DNA had unpredictable consequences unless it was carefully operated by its creator. Hayden Technologies was destroyed due to this incident, and Christian, one of the lead scientists who created the transcoder, chose to stay in Olympia, believing that the device could still be used for good. He possessed the very last transcoder that exists. The accident not only destroyed Hayden's technologies, but also the atmosphere of Olympia, forcing the citizens to flee. But to get out, a genetic test must be passed. This selection process led desperate individuals to make clones of the original transcoder and use them to steal DNA that would help them qualify. This act is a crime called DNA hacking, and the government hired private assassins. Michelle is the best DNA hacker assassin, and she just completed one of her missions successfully. She gets paid for her mission, but has another problem to deal with: Jackie, her younger brother, and her only living relative, whom she loves very much. In one of the town's clubs, Jackie is gambling like he always does, and this time it is his sister's money, despite his best friend Mouse telling him not to get involved with a bad man named Randall, who has already loaned him money before Jackie asks him for money, promising to pay it back. Randall gives him the money, but warns him to deliver the money in 3 days, and Jackie goes back to play some more. Michelle, on the other hand, arrives home after buying some groceries on her way. She sees Christian, her neighbor, from afar, but doesn't say anything. While preparing dinner, she remembers she has to put the money she made earlier and goes to open her box, which she tries to hide. Michelle finds out that Jackie has taken all her savings, making her frustrated. In another part of town, Josephine is alive with her monster body and asks her brother Solemn about Christianity. Solemn tells her to be patient, since it is only a matter of time before he finds him and gets the transcoder from him. Solemn is seen constantly searching on the internet and promises his sister to see her healed. Jackie loses the money he just borrowed for gambling, gets thrown out of the club with Mouse, and gets reminded to bring the money in 3 days by one of Randall's men. He goes home and gets confronted by Michelle. Jackie tells her he lost the money, but his sister gets angry at him since she is saving to get out. He tells that he wants to stay here and leaves after the argument. He finds Mouse and talks about how to get out of their new debt. Jackie has an idea and tells Mouse about robbing the place of their neighbor, Christian. Jackie ends up taking the transcoder and they try to sell it at a pawn shop, but when the shopkeeper puts it on his hand, it comes alive and tries to connect with the host. Freaked out by what they saw, Jackie takes the transcoder off of the keeper's hand and immediately runs out of the shop along with Mouse. Although Mouse doesn't think it will be worth anything and wants to call Michelle, Jackie wants to try and sell it at another shop. He puts the transponder on his hand and the device comes alive with tentacles appearing similar to the one at the shop. He struggles to get it off, but they keep walking. Michelle comes back from another day of work and finds the door not tightly closed. But she doesn't look much into it. She took off her gun and was about to change her TV channel when she saw a man was about to shoot her from the other room. She dodges the bullets and 2 other men appear out of nowhere to start fighting her. Showing impressive fighting skills, Jackie kills 2 of the men and shoots the other one in the leg. That night, Jackie comes home and finds the captured man tied to a chair with Michelle on the kitchen counter. She tells him this is due to his gambling and makes him promise never to gamble again. Then she takes Jackie to Randall to settle his debt along with the injured guy. Solemn, on the other hand, reports to his sister about narrowing down Christen's location while feeding her with a tube. She warns him about the possibility of Christen destroying the transcoder, but Solemn tells her he won't do that since they have the prototype chip. Christian comes home and finds the transcoder missing. He gets angry at himself, but then connects to the internet to activate his homing device, alerting Solemn, who now knows his exact location. Michelle arrives at Randall's place and warns him to stay out of her house. Randall mentions he was looking for her brother. She gives him the money her brother owes with interest, but Randall wants more payment for the medical bill of the injured man. Michelle takes care of him by shooting the injured man in the head and leaving with her brother, which makes Randall feel disrespected. Christian uses his homing device, and it leads him to Michelle and her brother, who were happy walking down the street. He follows them, but Michelle knocks him out without looking. After seeing he was their neighbor, she decides to let him rest in the house and orders her brother to work at her friend's bar. Michelle also gives him some money to buy some food on his way back. While working at the club, Jackie calls Mouse and tells him about Christian looking for the device, but their conversation is cut short when Randall shows up with his goons. Randall is upset about the 3 guys he lost and beats him up. He takes away the transcoder from him and urinates on him, making him feel humiliated. Jackie goes back home and fights with his sister, who is angry about her brother losing her money again. He tries to explain what happened, but she couldn't understand. The conversation turned into their parents, and Jackie left angry at the world, while Michelle cried. He gets some drinks with Mouse and is about to come home, but he hears someone in Christen's apartment and checks it out. He finds Solemn, who asks him about the transcoder while holding him by his neck. Jackie tries to deny it, but Solemn points out the wounds on his hands, which Jackie got while wearing the device. Then, Jackie tells him that Randall has got it. Solemn offers him $50,000 in advance to bring the transcoder to him. Jackie gets excited about the money and finds Mouse, whom he talks to about stealing from Randall. But Mouse refuses to help and tells him that he has decided to get his life straight. Jackie gets angry at him, and they part ways for good. He goes into Randall's place holding a gun and asks him for the device. Randall tries to intimidate him, but Jackie is serious. Randall gives back the transponder, and Jackie humiliates him in his turn and leaves. Randall's henchmen try to shoot him, but he tells them he wants him alive. Michelle, on the other hand, completes another job where she had to dress like a hooker to take out her target. She comes home and falls asleep, while Jackie comes back from delivering the transcoder to Solemn, who pays him the rest of the money according to their deal. Solemn also destroyed the tracking device before he went to take it for himself. Solemn goes back to Josephine and tells her he got the transcoder. She gives him the chip and tells him to hook it up, but when Solemn puts the transcoder on his hand, the calibration shift starts and tentacles come out. But he was able to get it off his hand before he was changed into a monster. On the next day, Christian awakens and asks Michelle about the transcoder, pointing a gun at her. But Michelle quickly knocks him out and Jackie ties him up. After seeing the wounds on Christian's hands, Jackie makes up some lies about an interview and goes out. He looks at his puncture wounds, which are getting infected. Christian explains about the transcoder and tries to convince Michelle that he is a DNA scientist, not a hacker, and she asks him about the wounds on his arm. He tells her that the transcoder punctures into the arm to retrieve DNA sample code and sends it into another, resulting in a monster being created since no 2 DNA codes can exist in a body. At the place where Josephine is held up, Abraham, Josh Benee's other brother and Michelle's employer, appears and blames Solemn for not doing his homework on Christian. Abraham says he will give Michelle one last mission, promising her 2 tickets out of Olympia, and plans to leave before she realizes the tickets are for them. Michelle comes back after receiving her assignment, but she doesn't open the files. She lets Christian go and they share a moment where Michelle is attracted to him. At the same time, Jackie, who was about to call Mouse, gets attacked by Randall and his men beat him badly. While having tea with Michelle, Christian tells her about Josephine and her brothers who wanted to use the device as a weapon. He tells her that now that they have the machine and the transcoder together, they will be coming for him. Their conversation is interrupted when Michelle gets a call about her brother. She pays a visit to Randall. She gets surrounded by his men, who point their guns at her, but she shoots all of them and forces Randall to take her to her brother. She gets him and cares for him in a nearby area. The next day, while Michelle is helping Jackie get home, Randall, whose face is badly injured, confronts them and threatens to kill her brother. She puts her weapon down, but Randall shoots her and is about to torture Jackie, but Solemn shows up and kills him using the transcoder. Jackie wakes up and finds him at the Hayden's place. He gets angry at Abraham for betraying them, but Solomon convinces him to take the job of hunting down Christian since his sister failed, and he connects him to the device and lots of tubes are seen connected to his body. Michelle, on the other hand, gets treated by Christian, who also uses another device to help her to regenerate her blood. She gets better after a few hours, and Christian gives her a travel document and asks her to come with him as he plans to leave Olympia, but she tells him him she needs to find Jackie. Jackie visits Mouse and makes up with him before he goes after Christian. Michelle also finds out that Christian is her assignment, and she runs back to confront Jackie, but Solemn shoots and kills him. Then, after fighting Michelle and knocking her out, he takes Christian to see Josephine. She asks Christian to make her better and promises to use the device for better things in the future, but he is not sure it will work. Suddenly, Michelle appears and kills Josephine as revenge. Then Abraham puts a gun on Michelle's head and forces Christian to bring back the original data code, and he promises to try. But he deletes all the data and uses the transcoder to destroy himself by turning into a monster. Michelle takes out Abraham and Solomon acrobatically, but she can't save Chrysatan because it is too late. She cries as she holds the gun and shoots him. Then, she destroys the transcoder angrily. At the end of the movie, Michelle is seen throwing away Ash and leaving Olympia once and for all. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.